Hi, Gig. I'm Nana.
Hi, Nana. Congratulations for your film, Queen of Glory.
Thank you.
Well, first of all, I want to more congratulate the fact that you're having this showcase at Tribeca. How does that feel?
Wow. Um, I'll tell you, we have limited time, but I'm gonna paint a portrait. I was flying to see my parents in Ghana from London, and I had got like a super early flight, and so it was like 3 o'clock in the morning, and I woke up, and actually like 2:45 a.m. And I woke up to get ready to go to the airport, and I checked my phone, and there was a notification from Tribeca saying that Queen of Glory had been selected for dramatic competition. And I was like, huh, okay. And then I put my phone down, got ready, got in the Uber, went to the airport, checked in. I'm sitting on the plane and we're getting ready to take off. And I just start bawling, like projectile tears. Like it was so, and it was my first time flying or second time flying in COVID. So like I had like two masks on and a visor. So it was fogging up. It was so ugly. But yes, that is a long way of saying it is a great honor. And I am so excited.
Well, you know what? We'll accept ugly happiness too. So
ugly, happy crying. Yeah.
That's right. So tell us where the original idea came from. What sparked this for you to write this story?
Yeah, I wrote a very expensive feature film project that I showed to my friend who is a indie filmmaker, Emily Apt, and I was like, "What do you think? Like, do you think like somebody's gonna give me $100 million to make this movie?" And she was like, "Girl, no, nobody knows who you are. Like, you need to go away and like make an indie film, make a small film." That will be a bit of a calling card, and then you graduate to these projects. You can't just like write $100 million biopic and be like, I mean, that's like, lightning striking. So she was right. And so I was like, okay. I went away and, reading up and studying other people's paths. I learned that a lot of times with first-time filmmakers, it behooves you to shoot around things that you can get for cheap or free. So my family owns a Christian bookstore in the Bronx. So I decided to write a story around that, as setting that as a primary location, and then the rest kind of was left up to my imagination.
Wow, that is terrific. Was it easy to convince your parents to be part
My aunt and uncle, yeah, it was actually weirdly easy, but I also think they had no idea what they were getting themselves into. I think like it's usually super quiet there. They've since sold it, but like, at the time it was like very quiet, and they long days, they would see the same like 7 or 8 customers, daily. And then all of a sudden they had like a crew of 25, like, of like young people, most of whom were like atheists, like just like running their store ragged. I mean, bless them, bless them, bless them. They were such good, they were such good troopers, but we put them through it. I'm sure they regret it.
What I love about this film is the Ghanaian culture. I mean, because I'm actually unfamiliar, and funniest thing is when I used to teach economics, I always bring up Ghana because it's like one of the few, I want to say, West African countries that just like pop into my head, but I have no idea the culture or the country or anything like that. So
you're not alone, Gig. You're not alone.
So tell us about putting that culture, the cultural stuff for Ghanaians into a film like this.
Yeah, I mean, like the thing is that I think, similar to a lot of first generation kids, like I don't feel quite at home in the United States. I don't feel quite at home in Ghana. Like you're kind of straddling two worlds. I've heard my biracial friends say something similar. So it did not feel authentic to me to tell like a very unique, a very specific Ghanaian immigrant story, because I did not immigrate from Ghana to the United States. My parents did. But I was like, let me speak to my experience of like, spending a lot of time in very Western places, in very white worlds, and then like also coming home and there being like, goat stew on the and like what, just living that like not double life because it's not secretive, but just understanding that you have two identities, and so I wanted to kind of, so that was the kind of wellspring from which the story came.
So how does this goat stew actually work? Is that tasty or what?
It's really good. It's really good. Yeah. And also like goat is very lean and, good for you. It's a lean meat.
So in recreating the funeral scene, is that exactly how it goes, or did you have to make a little bit of adjustments?
No, that's actually pretty much how it goes. Yeah, it's the color palette and having like those gifts that you give to people for coming, thanking them for coming. There's music, there's dancing, there's an MC. It's like a wedding, like I often explain when I'm explaining it to non-Ghanaians, I'm like, it's like your wedding, but you aren't there. It's like, that is what funerals are like in Ghana, with all those fixins, all the huge crowd and everybody coming to eat and dance and drink in your honor and your memory.
Oh, it almost sounds like a celebration or a celebration of life. Yes.
Yeah, it's a celebration of life. Exactly.
Now, the character Sarah, how close, from my understanding, the character Sarah, in its own way, you're very similar to this character, from my understanding.
I would say I'm way more pragmatic than Sarah is in certain ways. I think I like, I'm the queen of like, I'm like way more proud than Sarah is. I think I cut my nose to spite my face. And I think Sarah's a little bit, a little bit more open to, like going to Ohio and doing all of these things. She's a bit more of a romantic. She's more romantic than I am. But and she's also way more educated than I am. She has like a PhD, I do not. But I think there is some overlap for sure, dry sense of humor, etc. But I would say that's probably where it ends. And we look a lot alike.
No, obviously. How was your experience in directing an indie project like this for yourself? And not to mention directing yourself. You're probably, I would say, the harshest critic.
I am the harshest critic. This is where Jamin Washington came in. He's one of our producers, and he was an absolute godsend. He would be on monitor for me while I was acting. He would be helping set up shots while I was changing in between, like things like that. I leaned on him so heavily, and he was such a champ. And just being my second set of eyes in terms of the whole thing. I mean, his fingerprints are definitely all over it. So I think everyone needs a really reliable producer, because doing all three is really hard. Because sometimes I'm like rewriting the scene, because once we did the rehearsal, I'm like, oh, that sounds wrong. Like, I don't think this is actually what we need to get out of this. So then I'm like rewriting the scene, and he knows what the shot is. So he's setting up the shot while I'm rewriting the scene, so I can go back to the actors and be like, okay, this is what we're gonna do, and somebody's touching my makeup up. It's chaos. It's absolute chaos. So I think you really do need to have like a very trusted circle. So him and Kelly Robbins Hicks were that for me.
Do you want to do something like this again, where you will write, act, direct, wear multiple hats?
Gig, I will never do this again. I will never, ever do this again.
Oh,
I aged 25 years in this process. I will never do it again. But thank you for asking.
Not a problem. Let's talk about one of your fascinating co-stars, Nico. I was mesmerized, with his performance in this film, and I thought the energy between you two were terrific in this movie.
Nico is the real deal. And I'm really excited because he's done a lot. He's done mostly indie film, and now, he's on HBO's Euphoria. And so I'm excited for him to start working more, and his profile getting raised, because he's so great. He's so great.
Awesome. And I'm just curious, the pastries that Miko's character distributes, who made those and what are they actually?
They're based off of a real kind of product. Um, I believe, I don't remember what they're called. They're not, I don't think they're called Bible bars, but they're called something like that. And the idea behind the original product is that they're all grains that are referenced in the Bible, like obscure, like amaranth and like things like that that you don't actually really even know what they are. Barley, like, you know, things like that. So it's like an ancestral grain bar. And so I took that and then like riffed on it. And then our amazing production designer, Austin Ashamole, he came up with something. I was like, so it's kind of like this. So it's got to look like a granola bar, but also like it needs to look homemade enough that like Miko made it. So like, you know, he just ran with it. So he's the one who ended up coming up with the actual, like the packaging and, you know, the concept.
I think that's excellent. And one more thing, when people watch this, would you rather have them see this as like a Ghanaian immigrant story, or would you like to see it as a New York story?
I think it's a New York story more than it's a Ghanaian, because you know the fact of the matter is that like I was saying before, it's that like it's unique to my experience of being Ghanaian American. It's not exactly a Ghanaian immigrant story, you know. Like if it were a Ghanaian immigrant story, the story would be about my mother, the mother character, or my father, you know. But this is very somebody who is very entrenched in America but also has these roots that, you know, she has been trying to deny but can't ignore any longer. So I would think it's a little bit of both.
Excellent. Well, hey, congratulations on Queen of Glory, and congratulations on showcasing this at Tribeca. So thank you very much for speaking with us about it. This is a very enjoyable conversation.
Thank you, Gig.
Thank you. Next time, I can't wait till your next project.
All right. See you soon.